Hello, chess fans! This is Rick from Chess to Impress with number 8 in the series Resigning in a Winning Position. This one is from the 1969 Championship of Poland, from the 11th round. White was Grandmaster Wlodzimierz Schmidt, and black was the untitled Janusz Kwasniewski. And if you're from Poland, I apologize for my poor pronunciation of these quite difficult names. Let's have a look at the game. White Schmidt, black Kwasniewski, and the Grandmaster opened with knight f3, knight f6 from Kwasniewski, g3, d5, bishop g2, c5, white castled, knight c6, c4, e6, b3, bishop e7, bishop b2, castling from black, e3, queen c7, and d3. Because white has not played d4, this opening has the characteristics of the English opening. Rook d8 from black, queen e2, takes the queen out of the face-to-face with the rook on d8. a6, knight c3, and rook b8, preparing the b7, b5 push. Rook ac1, there comes b5, white took in the center, black took back, and e4. Black played d4, kicking the knight back to b1, and queen b6. Kwasniewski is the lower rated player, but he has survived the opening without any trouble. Black is very comfortable here. Knight bd2, a5, h3, bishop a6, and now a strange move from white, bishop a1. It's not clear what white's ideas with this move. Maybe he was just playing this as a waiting move to see what black would be up to. Sometimes that's a good strategy against weaker players. Knight a7 from black, rook c2, and a4. B takes a4, b takes a4, and knight e5. There's still not much happening. The position is still around equal. Queen e6, knight ec4, and knight d7. Both players are still maneuvering. There comes f4, knight b6, a3, black took on c4 and white took back with the knight, and knight c8. That knight was not good on a7 and is looking for a better square. f5, hitting the queen, queen went to h6 and e5. White has gone forward, but still there is not much happening in the position. Knight b6, that knight was taken, and here Kwasniewski took back with the queen. It was better to take with the rook. Let's look at that move and then let's look at the same variation as in the game. If then after rook takes b6, white plays f6, then bishop f8, and if then white takes on g7, the queen can take back, and black is better. White has weak pawns on e5 and g3. That rook on b6 is very strong on the 6th rank. Black is better here. But he took with the queen, as said, and here comes f6, bishop f8, f takes g7, and bishop takes g7. And now white had the bishop e4 move. That move would not have been possible if black had taken with the rook, because at that time the pawn on g3 was hanging. Queen h6 to prevent the queen coming to h5, king g2 from white, and c4. Queen f2, eyeing up the f7 pawn, and black decided to take on e5. It gets quite sharp now. It gets very sharp. And here white should have taken on f7, king h8, and then a move like rook f5, and a good reply then is queen g7, and again the position is still equal. But here comes the first big mistake of the game. After bishop takes e5, white took on c4. And a very strong reply from black was rook b3. Queen takes f7 check. Black was not afraid of that. King went to h8 and rook f3. And here black could have obtained a winning position with bishop c8. There's a threat on h3. And if white plays h4, then there is rook g8. And black is winning in this position. All his pieces are attacking. The fact that he's a pawn down doesn't matter. This is a winning position for black. But he did not play bishop c8. He took on f3. Queen took back. Rook f8. And now white should have played queen d3 to maintain the balance. Let's look at the variation. Bishop c8 again looks very strong, threatening to take on h3. So h4, rook g8 as we saw in the previous variation. But then white can take on d4. And even though g3 is attacked twice, you cannot take on g3 with the rook, because there's simply queen takes g3, because the bishop on e5 is pinned. So that doesn't work for black. So after h4, black cannot play rook g8, but has to play a move like queen g7 to protect the d4 pawn. But Schmidt did not play queen d3, he played queen d1, and that's a bad move. Because now bishop c8, which was played by Kwasniewski, works. After h4, he should have played rook g8, and then you cannot take on d4, because then there is rook takes g3 check. So after h4, black should have played the rook to g8 to attack the g3 pawn with rook and bishop. But he played queen g7, and that's less strong, because now white has queen d3 to protect the g3 pawn. And taking on g3 with the queen is not an option. That doesn't work for black. He played queen g4, and we have reached the 40th move. And in those days, in 1969, the games were adjourned after 40 moves. White played one more move, bishop takes d4, and in fact that was a big mistake. The computer gives king g1 as the best move, with the idea that if black tries to infiltrate with his queen, for example queen h3, then the rook can protect the king on the second rank. But bishop takes d4 was played on the 41st move, and instead of Kwasniewski putting the queen h3 check move in the envelope as the sealed move and continue the next day, he made a curious decision and he resigned here. Very strange. He believed his opponent, he believed that he was going to be 2 pawns down, and did not want to adjourn the game, did not want to study the game more to see if he could save it. And not only could he save it, it turned out that Kwasniewski had resigned in a winning position, because bishop takes d4 from Schmidt was a blunder. If he had put queen h3 check, a fourth move, in the envelope, then he would have seen probably quite quickly in his home analysis that black wins here. What he probably saw is that he cannot take back on d4, because then there's queen takes d4 check, and after queen g7, white is winning with his 2 extra pawns. But after queen h3 check, king g1, there is rook f1 check, and Kwasniewski must have missed that move, and so must his opponent when he took on d4. Queen takes f1 is the only move, and then there is bishop takes d4 check, rook f2, what else? Queen takes g3 check, the bishop has to interpose, and bishop b7. All black's pieces are attacking white's king. King h1. Then black has time to pick up the h4 pawn. Queen takes. Picking up the pawn before winning the rook. King g1. Queen back to g3. King back to h1. And then bishop takes g2 check. Queen takes. And bishop takes f2. The dust has settled and black has an extra piece and is easily winning in this position. All Kwasniewski would have had to do was put queen h3 check in the envelope and then he would have won this game. Resigning in a winning position, it happened in this game. Hope you enjoyed the game. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the Chess to Impress channel. I'm looking forward to your comments, and if you liked the video, it would be great if you could share it on YouTube. You also may want to check out my Chess to Progress channel. The link is in the description box. This is Rick for Chess to Impress. Thank you very much for watching.